My initial reaction was, what the heck? Like, how long have you guys been talking? Obviously, because you planned this entire thing. I was like, this is BS. What do you mean? We had a date literally planned tomorrow and you had this entire weekend planned with her.
I'm Andrea Gunning.
And I'm Ben Fetterman.
And you're listening to Dating Diaries, Questions and Confessions. So this show is going to be a little different than you're used to on Dating Diaries.
We heard from a listener who's a little too shy to come on the show, but he sent a letter that is so important, we really wanted to share it and offer some help for him.
And stick around, because at the end of this episode, we have some really big news to share. And I mean really big. First, Ben has a letter we received at datingdiariespod@gmail.com.
So Dre, we got this letter from a guy that titled it, "From Some Guy in Toronto." I'm just going to jump right into it. So our friend from Toronto says, "Okay, this is the first time I've ever emailed a podcast. By the way, I love this podcast. You guys are hilarious and have great voices to keep the listeners entertained."
That's so cute.
It is cute, but it transitions quickly.
Okay.
This is kind of a dark one. Anyways, I'm 39. I got divorced in 2015. That, coupled with how to co-parent a special needs child, took me down a really dark path.
Aww.
Depression, anxiety, every drug you can think of, and suicide attempts.
That's really sad.
I've been drug-free since January 2018, and a few months later, my therapist told me I was ready to get back out there, and I signed up on Tinder, Bumble, and Match. My problem is, since I signed up over a year ago, I have been matched a total of 0 times.
What?
There is nobody that swipes right on my profile.
Oh my God.
I don't even know what's wrong with me or why this is happening, but it's taken me back down the dark road of depression again.
Yeah, I get that.
So, I mean, this guy has 0 swipes in over a year over 3 sites. And he shared us his actual profile, like what reads on his dating profile. So this is what it says.
Okay.
I've been divorced for about 6 to 7 years now. I have an 8-year-old special needs daughter who spends 50% of her time between parents. Having father-daughter time is the thing I look forward to most. I absolutely love kids and am known as the cool uncle amongst the nieces and nephews. Been working at a pharma company for 14 years. Ladies, steady job. Come on. Personally, I don't have many hobbies, but I love sports and music and love trying new things and foods. I haven't been to many places, but wish to travel the world someday. I'm not with hating on any other person, religion, color, etc. This is one thing I can't stand and is a deal breaker for me. I'm not vegan, although I wish I was. Why does meat have to taste so good? My wants in a partner are simple. No games and no drama. I want to live a peaceful life with a peaceful partner, and the best way to try to make this happen is through communication. Thanks for reading my profile, and good luck hunting. Oops, I mean searching. He continues in his letter and explains that he's just not the type of guy who's in for one-night stands, casual dating, or flings. Like, he's telling us he's too old for that and doesn't have time for it. He continues and shares he's at the point right now where he misses the little affectionate things like hugs more than he misses sex. He also says he's not that good looking, but he thinks he's an average looking dude. So he finishes his letter to us by saying, if I ever do manage to find a date, can you guys talk about the etiquette of dating on your show? Like, is the guy supposed to make sure the date sits down first? Or if the man is still supposed to pay the bill, open doors and such? With love, from Toronto.
Okay.
I think his big ask to us, Dre, is to start to break down his dating profile, but he's also carrying what seems like a lot of weight on his shoulders.
Yep.
And it's oozing out into how he is putting himself out there on these dating apps.
I think he's wearing his heart on his sleeve a little too much.
Let's establish some things off the bat, right?
Mm-hmm.
Friend from Toronto, can we call him T?
Yeah, from Toronto, T.
I mean, first off, thank you for sharing all of this with us. So many of us, especially over the past year and a half, have dealt with depression and anxiety. And the first thing to do is to name it. And it seems like you've been able to do that.
Yeah. I think step number 1 on the profile, let's keep it back to the basics. I do think this profile is a little TMI. I think that a lot of what he's put out there, people have to learn over time. What I'm walking away from that profile is, wow, that's a lot of baggage.
Mm-hmm. A lot of what's in here is part of his personal story that can best be described in person, exactly how you're saying, because to me, a ton of questions just come up and he's not able to then respond to those questions. Like, you're divorced. Oh, 50% of the time is spent between you and your ex, so there's still a relationship there. How is that? Like, how do I fit in? I read those things and just say, this seems complicated. I don't want complicated.
Listen, if you're saying you have a kid, the kid kind of puts together a few options for the person who's reviewing your profile to think about for you to tackle that conversation down the road.
Let's take a step back because T is doing some things right. Let's compliment the things he's doing right and let's call out the positives. And then maybe we can strip back the negatives a little bit here. So positives, you have an 8-year-old daughter. And that father-daughter time is the thing you look forward to most. That's telling me something about who you are as a person. I love that. That is a nice share about who you are as a person.
Look, you're going to be trying to find a partner and attract a partner that's okay with you being a dad. And so what needs to radiate from your profile is positivity and connection with your kid. So positivity and positive energy about it.
You love kids and you're known as the cool uncle amongst your nieces and nephews. That's great. That's giving me a sense that you're fun.
Yep.
Personally, I don't think I need to know about your job. That is definitely a positive. You're employed. You've been at a company for 14 years. It shows commitment. I don't think it needs to be in here.
Yep.
Do less. Just tell them, I love sports. I love music. And I love trying new things and foods. That's great. You have interest in traveling the world one day. That's great. I mean, it's kind of cute. I don't know how you think about this. I'm not a vegan, although I wish I was. Why do I love meat so much? Like, I think that's kind of a fun, cute thing. He's a foodie. I think that's great. And then he's very declarative and clear about what he wants. I want to live a peaceful life with a peaceful partner, and the best way to make that is through communication. That's just kind of like an affirmation mantra that he's leading forward in his dating life.
I think that's fine to keep.
And then, I don't know, a cute little nod to the dating culture right now. Thanks for reading my profile and good luck hunting. I mean, oops, searching. It's cute. Shows he has a little bit of a personality.
Hunting makes it seem like he's a predator.
That's fair.
I would take that off.
All right. You ready for a new profile based on what we discussed?
Yep.
Just immediate answer, Dre. Would you swipe left or right hearing this? Okay. I'll tell you a little bit about me. I have an 8-year-old daughter. Having father-daughter time is the thing I look forward to the most. I absolutely love kids and am known as the cool uncle amongst the nieces and nephews. I love sports and music and love trying new things and foods. I wish to travel the world someday. And although I'm not a vegan, I wish I was. Why does meat have to taste so good? My wants in a partner are simple. I want to live a peaceful life with a peaceful partner, and the best way to make that happen is through communication. Done.
It's way more disarming than the previous one.
I didn't add anything. I didn't move anything. I just omitted certain things. And I think my ultimate question to you is, if you were willing to embrace the fact that he has a kid, is that the type of information you'd want to hear to keep it very clear and defined and simple, and this is who I am?
Yes, and I'll tell you what, you put out his interests without negativity. A great example is, I want to travel the world, and you omitted, I haven't been anywhere. Because to me, that felt like an insecurity.
Same with, I don't have many hobbies, but here's everything I'm into.
Like his profile is, what am I not? As opposed to, what am I?
Right. The story is there. The who you are, your essence, what you're about is there. You just need to back out the negativity a little bit and let who you are as a person really shine.
He provided 2 pictures. They're both your side profile. I think you need to provide a picture straight on.
Why, Dre? Does that feel misleading? Is that not
It's not that it feels misleading. It makes me think, does he not have a good picture straight on?
Right.
Like, but he's cute. He's got a good smile. He's got cute glasses, a good beard.
Yeah.
Let me see a picture straight on.
Yeah.
Even from like a superficial level, when we're looking at his pictures, it still looks like he's kind of hiding himself and not really embracing his whole self.
Right.
And I see a great smile. I see really cool, fun glasses, a great beard. And it's kind of like, why are you choosing your side profile? Are you not happy with the way that you look straight on?
Take a picture with your nieces and nephews crawling all over you and having fun. Like, what you are showing in your profile, have the picture speak to that so someone can actually visualize and understand how that is a part of who you are. Right now, I'm just hearing words and not seeing those actions. I'm not seeing the sports. I'm not seeing the food. I'm not seeing how you love kids. Yeah. That's what the pictures are an opportunity for, is to justify the profile you put together.
So true. Look at you, Ben. You haven't been on the apps and you know
the game.
Dating etiquette. Like, look, everyone's like, rules, rules, rules. Like, just be polite and attentive.
I will add one word to it. Don't be rigid about it.
Right.
If you're planning to pay and someone says, oh, I want to go halvesies, don't be rigid around paying and be really controlling about it.
And if you haven't gotten dessert, be like, you want to go get ice cream? And can I treat you to ice cream?
Right.
Like, there's a way to be fluid with it.
How about unsolicited bringing up your last relationship on the first date?
I think relationship history is important to explore when you feel like this is more than just like a casual dating thing.
Right.
I think it's important to keep the date to connecting with that person. And I think sometimes relationship history and past relationships can be a little bit polarizing. T, once you take our advice into consideration, I would love for you to share what your new profile is like and if you get any traction.
Yeah, please send in your new dating profile.
Brittany is a California transplant who has seen her fair share of rom-coms. She thought her love life would be like the movies.
When I first moved to LA, I'm kind of like a hopeless romantic.
She was ready for love, but she wasn't sure love was ready for her.
I was using the Bumble dating app, and I just feel like I was getting my heart broken every time, or even just going on a bad date that I was like, okay, I don't really like him either.
But she eventually made a match, and it looked promising.
He was super nice. He had a great job, great family. Like, we connected a lot. We were the same age. We both had the same like career goals and everything. So it seemed like a match on paper and when we met in person. We were exchanging some messages, talked for like a week or two, and went out on dates. And then we were going on dates, I would say like twice a week, 3 times a week for like a month or 2.
Real, dependable. He was a good guy.
We kind of talked about our past dating experience. So he mentioned this girl that he only had one serious girlfriend from like a year ago or something. So he made it seem like everything was done. And then I wake up one day, like without a text from him. We talked every day and I was like, oh my gosh, something's wrong, to my mom. And she's like, you're so dramatic.
Never let anyone tell you that your instincts aren't real.
He sent me this long text. It was like, he's having his ex-girlfriend come and stay with him. She lives all the way in New York. I'm in LA. What he sent me was basically him like ending it with me. Like, I want to be honest with you. She's staying with me, so I don't think we should continue talking, kind of basically.
So devastating. And on text. Like, really? What a cop-out.
My initial reaction was, what the heck? Like, how long have you guys been talking? Obviously, because you planned this entire thing from New York to LA to come stay with you. I was like, this is BS. What do you mean? We had a date literally planned tomorrow and you had this entire weekend planned with her. And I was supposed to meet his parents, go to Disneyland. He like promising everything, like he wanted a future with me.
Until he didn't. And it left Brittany confused and heartbroken. But she leaned into the pain.
I was so upset. I remember my roommate, I was like crying in my room, talking to all my friends. She was like, are you okay? And I'm like, oh no, she can hear me. It's so embarrassing. And so I'm like, oh my God, I'm gonna go outside.
Brittany really started to feel defeated.
I kind of felt like, where do I go from here? And kind of, I felt like I'm never gonna find someone. Kind of, that's how it felt like for me. I'm like, this guy was so great. Like, oh my God. And I was like, I'm deleting Bumble. I'm never doing this again.
But that's what friends are for, right? To make sure we don't dwell too long. So she kept her plans with her girlfriend.
We go out, I think it was Friday or Saturday. We go to dinner, then we go to a bar. We're having fun, just chilling, and we meet a group of guys that we were hanging out with for a little bit in the night, just fun or whatever, and they end up asking us if we want to leave to go to their friend's party. And we walk in, and I love dancing, so I walk in and I'm dancing, and the friend is my now boyfriend. And my boyfriend said he noticed me right when I walked in and was like, wow, she can really own a room.
Hold up. While still wallowing in the heartbreak, she made herself go out, and she met another guy.
He was super shy. I said, hi, thanks for having us. Very cordial. That's probably all we had said. And then I left and he asked for my Instagram. So then I gave it to him and then he kept asking me out.
Brittany was proceeding with caution around this new guy, but he was persistent. She noticed that meeting in a casual social situation instead of on an app was a refreshing experience.
I didn't even think of him any romantic way at all. I thought he was really nice, cool, funny, and cute, but I wasn't even looking for anything. So we built a friendship right away first, and it developed into what we have now, which is way better than anything I've ever had with any other guy. I mean, he said he was so enamored with me at first and really liked me. And I think when I realized that I really liked him was when I went home for Christmas break and me and him were FaceTiming every second. My mom was like, who is this guy? You never even talked that much about him, because I didn't know what was gonna happen. And I realized the distance without him for a week or two, I was okay, yes, I really like this guy.
It wasn't planned, it just happened.
After 2 or 3 months, we had New Year's plans and my friend's you guys are official, aren't you? And I'm I don't know, he hasn't asked me. But like I said, we've been hanging out all the time for 2 or 3 months. So I just asked him when we were out on New Year's, I'm so am I your girlfriend? He's yeah, Brittany. I thought that's what it was. And I'm you didn't ask me. So that's kind of how we had the talk, I guess.
They just moved in together and they're planning for the future. But do you remember the guy from earlier in the story? The one with the old girlfriend from New York? What ended up happening with him?
Of course, didn't work out with his ex, but he did try to reach out a few weeks later.
So when I heard Brittany's story, a lot of emotions came up for me.
Say more, Dre, say more.
We've heard a lot of ridiculous disaster dates. This is pretty crappy, but I think it is so relatable. Anyone who's out there dating has kind of gone through this. This situation probably hurts the most. Brittany was dating this guy for 2 months and he was perfect on paper. So all of these expectations, all of the hopes, they're up and it just comes crashing down in a matter of hours. This story reminds me of my beginning of pandemic dating experience where this guy and I dated for 2.5 months and literally with one night doesn't go great and it ends everything.
I think what's so blindsiding about a relationship ending is when you have someone that you feel really in lockstep with. They said they had the same career aspirations. They wanted the same thing out of a partner. They were talking every day. They were very much on the same page. And then add the layer of future plans. I want you to meet my parents. I want to take you to Disney World. I want all those things. And then with a snap of a text message, all those future plans and ideas and things that you're hoping for, they honestly just vanish.
This happens so much in dating where these little relationships of 2-3 months, they come and they go. And for some reason, I don't know why, but I find them emotionally harder than breaking up with someone after 6-7 months. And I think it's because there's a little bit of shame and embarrassment in it. Because you're embarrassed that you got your hopes up. Feeling a little bit of shame for just throwing yourself in there. Being blissfully unaware. There's this weird shame about it. It's different if you give it 6-7 months, you gave it the good old college try, you realize it doesn't work out. That you can understand why things come to be. But when something happens and someone's oh yeah, by the way, my ex is staying with me, it's you just look back on your last 2 months and you're there was this other thing operating in the background, and he clearly wasn't over his past relationship. And that's weird to reconcile when you're like, this whole time you're moving forward and being excited. Meanwhile, the person next to you's got this chain.
What's even weirder about it for Brittany is that chain isn't present. Like, there's the opposite of like, he's holding back, like someone holding back on making future plans. Like, maybe still has one foot out the door in this relationship. It seemed like he was all in.
There's obviously things that he needs to figure out for his own like closure.
It's just another reason why it's so important to really be clear, reconcile, and like ready to date someone else, because there is collateral damage when you're not ready. Even if this guy had the best intentions, he still had claws from a previous relationship in him that didn't allow him to fully commit to her. That girl comes right back in his life. That ex comes back in his life. And he's willing to drop everything he invested for a couple months to see if that relationship could still work, that old relationship. And who gets hurt at the end of the day?
Brittany.
Brittany got hurt.
Yeah. This story is definitely like a when you least expect it story, which I think is really cool.
Yeah.
But what I really wanted to spend time talking about is disappointment, and disappointment in dating, because, you know, it's hard when you're single dealing with that disappointment time and time again. There's a lot of shame and embarrassment around it, and it's frustrating and it's hurtful. And it always feels like a tremendous amount of pressure to manage your own disappointment.
For me, I remember when I met my wife, I had been pursuing another girl who lived in my dorm, and she wasn't into me. And that night I was just like, all right, I'm done. I'm going to be single. I'm not interested. I'm not chasing girls anymore. Like, I'm just going to have fun and not worry about it. And literally that night is when my wife tapped me on the shoulder and said, hey, I think we're Facebook friends. And like, this story reminded me of that.
Digesting everything that you've been saying, I've been putting some things together in my head. And this is kind of like a half-baked idea, but maybe the connective tissue between disappointment and working through that is the level of pressure you put on yourself and on the situation. I'm not saying on another person, but, you know, Brittany was saying he checked all the boxes. And even whether or not it's like conscious or subconscious, there is this intense like emotional pressure that you're feeling in your body of like, this has to work out. Like, this all makes sense. This feels really great. Her guard was down. There was no pressure on the guy that she met at the party. And I'm wondering if there's just some kind of like universal thing. Does that make sense at all?
It does make sense. She always imagined meeting the person she's going to end up with very organically, not on the apps. And I think she felt forced to be on the apps to meet someone because of those boxes she wanted to check. There's a way to kind of, okay, I'm out in LA. This is the easiest way to meet people.
Yeah.
And then she let her guard down. She like didn't worry about dating. She just wanted to go out with her friends and have a good night. And then that organic connection occurred.
Yeah. Sometimes when you hold on to things too tightly, that kind of says something in and of itself, right?
Exactly.
Speaking of expecting,
we've
got big news. It's your news to tell.
My wife and I, we're expecting our first child.
I'm so excited.
15 years of knowing one another, and we're making a little Fetterman.
And you're naming it Andrew after Andrea?
Name has not been determined, but when we're back, we'll present a name to our audience and welcome him into the Step Over squad.
Oh my God, I'm so excited for you and Jen, but because they're walking into parenthood any day now, we're taking a little bit of a hiatus so Ben can have proper paternity. But in the meantime, please keep sending us your dating stories. We love to hear it.
I'm going to miss it.
When I was at your wedding, your best man said how you were willing to give up your Princess Diana Beanie Baby to like your 5th grade girlfriend. And I do not doubt that baby Fetterman will love just as hard as you do. Moral of the story is, guys, we're going to be off for a few weeks, but we'll be back in September just to give Ben and his family some time. Again, in the meantime, please send your dating stories to datingdiariespod@gmail.com and just check in on social for when we'll be back. Stay safe out there, guys. This podcast is hosted and executive produced by me, Andrea Gunning. Executive produced by Nancy Glass, Ben Fetterman, and Carrie Hartman. Produced by Julie Clark. Associate producers include Megan Paisley and Kristen Melchiori. Edited by Mac Daggett and Matt Delvecchio. Special thanks to Natalie Thomas. Music by Mybe Music. Some names have been changed to protect privacy.